Visualize being able to automatically turn every negative thought into an opportunity for growth. To forge a mind so resilient that no hardship, betrayal, or fall could drag you into emotional darkness. That strategy exists. The Stoics discovered it over 2,000 years ago and applied it to rule empires, endure imprisonment, and preserve their dignity in the most challenging situations. And today, you're going to learn it. I'm not talking about false optimism or pretending everything is fine. I'm referring to an inner transformation so deep that it allows you to completely change your relationship with pain. The difference between a mind that collapses and one that remains firm doesn't lie in genetics, luck, or environment. It lies in concrete principles that you can internalize and begin to practice right now. They are 10 foundations that will radically change the way you perceive life, face obstacles, and maintain inner serenity. Stay until the end, because each of these pillars is like a psychological muscle you can develop. And when you master each of them, you will become truly indestructible. Not because life stops challenging you, but because you will have gained the ability to stand firm, no matter the magnitude of the blow. But before we begin, I want you to take one decisive action. Scroll down to the comments and write, "My mind is my fortress." That phrase is your declaration of war against the victim mentality. It's your commitment to yourself. It's the first step toward a solid, courageous, and unbreakable mindset. Have you done it? Perfect. Then it's time to begin. And one more thing before we start. I'd love for you to go to the comments and write the phrase, "Today I choose my mind. I act with calm." This is not just any phrase. It's a conscious declaration, a powerful affirmation that connects you with your inner center and with this community that has chosen to live with purpose, self-control, and determination. 1. Your mind is the only space you truly control. You can try to influence people, but you might fail. You can strive to change your circumstances, but life will always find a way to surprise you. You can fight against the passage of time, but it will keep moving forward without your permission. There is only one thing in this entire universe over which you have full control: your mind. This realization isn't a limitation, it's the most liberating truth you can experience. While you waste energy trying to control what lies beyond your reach, your true power remains dormant. Your mind is like a territory where you are the absolute sovereign, but you've been so focused on conquering external worlds that you've neglected your own inner empire. Mastering your mind means deciding which thoughts deserve your attention and which are better left behind. It means choosing how you interpret the experiences you go through. It means defining which emotions you cultivate and which you let go, like passing clouds in the sky. This kind of leadership isn't easy, but it's absolutely attainable. And once you achieve it, you become truly unstoppable. Most people live trapped in the illusion of controlling the external. They get frustrated when things don't go as expected. They get irritated when others don't behave the way they wish. They get discouraged when reality doesn't match their projections. But you can be different. You can channel all your energy into the only thing truly under your command. When you guide your mind wisely, everything else begins to align. Relationships improve, because you no longer need others to change for you to feel whole. Problems become manageable because you remain calm even amid chaos. Goals become achievable because your focus is steady and unwavering. Your mind is your territory. The time has come to govern it wisely. And before we continue, if these words have brought you clarity, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and show your support with a like. Here we are building a community of people determined to strengthen their minds and live with greater purpose. If that's what you're looking for, then this is your place too. 2. True freedom is born within you. What does it mean to be truly free? Most people seek freedom in the wrong places. They assume they'll be free when they accumulate more money, change jobs, leave certain relationships, or when circumstances finally work in their favor. But that pursuit is an illusion that keeps them trapped their entire lives. True freedom doesn't depend on what happens outside of you. It never has. Real freedom is the ability to choose your response, no matter what happens around you. It is the skill of preserving your internal balance, even when your environment is in total disarray. And that freedom exists in only one place: your mind. When you discover that your inner freedom is not conditioned by external factors, everything changes. You are no longer a prisoner of the situations you face, but the conscious designer of your own experience. Other people's opinions lose their grip on you. Unexpected events no longer shake you. Frustrations become opportunities to grow. This doesn't mean you should settle or passively accept everything that happens. It means recognizing that your mental state is not in anyone else's hands, that you can choose inner calm no matter how chaotic the outside world is, that your mind is your refuge, your sacred space, your personal fortress. Inner freedom is the root of any truly positive thought, because when you understand that nothing external can steal your peace without your permission, you develop unshakable confidence, a calm that arises from the deep realization that, no matter what happens, you choose how to feel. Your mind is the only domain that truly belongs to you, and the time has come to reclaim that sovereignty. Don't wish to be happy. Aim to be unbreakable. 3. Don't wish to be happy. Wish to be unbreakable. How many times have you thought you'd finally feel fulfilled if only things were different? If you had more money, if you found the ideal partner, if your job were perfect, if your family understood you, if the world were fairer. This endless pursuit of happiness is a trap that keeps you perpetually unsatisfied, always chasing something that slips away just when you think you've caught it. It's like running after your own shadow. The closer you get, the further it moves. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. It comes and goes like the tides. It depends on external factors that you cannot control. It's beautiful when it arrives, but building your life around it is like constructing a house on unstable ground. Sooner or later, everything collapses when the conditions change. You might feel euphoric in the morning from a success and devastated in the afternoon by bad news. Your emotional state becomes a roller coaster with no brakes. However, there is something far more valuable than happiness: inner strength. It's the ability to stay centered, to remain calm regardless of what's happening around you. It's a strength that doesn't rely on everything going well in order to stand firm. It's a deep serenity that remains untouched, even when life hits hard. It's like having an anchor inside you that keeps you stable while the surface is violently shaken. Inner strength is not emotional coldness, nor is it about becoming a numb person. It's about building an inner foundation so solid that you can allow yourself to feel deeply without being swept away by those emotions. It's like being a tree with deep roots. You can sway with the wind, but you won't fall. When you cultivate that inner strength, you achieve what could be called emotional stability. You're no longer a hostage to your moods. You no longer need everything to go perfectly to feel at peace with yourself. Your well-being no longer depends on what happens outside. It becomes something you generate from within. It's like having your own internal power plant instead of depending on an external grid that can fail at any moment. Happiness is an occasional gift. Inner strength, on the other hand, is a constant choice. And between the two, only one can give you true freedom. Your thoughts are like visitors. 4. Your thoughts are like visitors. Your mind is a home with doors that are always open. Throughout the day, guests of all kinds arrive. Some knock politely before entering. Others barge in without warning. Some thoughts arrive well-dressed, bringing gifts of enthusiasm and hope. Others show up disheveled, dragging the mud of fear and insecurity. Some stay briefly, while others try to settle permanently in the center of your attention, disrupting your inner peace. But here's the revelation that can completely transform your life. You are not any of those thoughts. You are the owner of that house. You decide which visitors you allow to stay, and which you kindly show to the door. You have the ability to observe each thought without becoming it. For years, perhaps you've lived convinced that you are what you think. If a thought of sadness arrives, you immediately assume you're depressed. If an anxious thought appears, you conclude that you're a nervous person. If an idea of failure arises, you quickly identify yourself as a loser. But this automatic identification is the root cause of much of your emotional suffering. The truth is, you are the conscious space where thoughts come and go. You are like the sky watching clouds drift by. The clouds are not the sky, even if they pass through it. Similarly, thoughts are not you, even if they pass through your awareness. This difference is not just a philosophical concept, it's a practical and transformative tool. When you learn to observe your thoughts from a conscious distance, something extraordinary happens. Negative ideas lose their influence over you. They no longer drag you into cycles of anguish because you understand they are temporary, not definitions of your identity. It's like the difference between being swept away by a current and calmly watching it from the shore. That ability to observe without attachment is the foundation of mental and emotional growth. When you don't confuse yourself with your thoughts, you can analyze them clearly. You can ask, does this thought benefit me? Does it bring me closer to who I want to be? Does it help me solve something real? Or is it just making me suffer needlessly? Helpful ideas are welcomed with appreciation. Destructive ones are allowed to pass, without resistance, but also without shelter. It's not about suppressing or fighting against negative thoughts, but about transforming the way you relate to them. It's the difference between being a slave to your mind or becoming its wise observer. When you master this ability, your mind becomes a more serene and orderly place. No longer a storm of conflicting ideas competing for your attention, it transforms into a well-tended garden, where you choose what seeds to plant and which weeds to pull out by the root. 5. Turn every obstacle into your teacher. Life has a unique way of teaching us. It doesn't send professors with diplomas or write lessons on chalkboards. Its teachings come disguised as difficulties, setbacks, disappointments, and barriers that seem to exist only to make our lives harder. But those who learn to see beyond appearances and grasp this hidden truth become unstoppable. Every obstacle in your path contains within it the seed of a strength you have yet to cultivate. Every challenge you face is trying to reveal a crucial lesson for reaching the next stage of your life. Every fall is, in reality, a masterclass in disguise, designed especially for you, to strengthen aspects of your mind and character you didn't yet know needed work. It's as if the universe had structured a custom training plan, where every adversity serves as a targeted exercise to fortify a weak part of your inner self. Epictetus, who spent much of his life as a slave before becoming one of the most influential thinkers in history, taught, "Do not wish for events to happen as you want them to. Wish for them to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." His own story is a testament to that lesson. The physical chains that imprisoned him became the path to his mental emancipation. What would have been an unbearable condition for many, he turned into a sacred school, where he learned the deepest truths about human dignity and the power of thought. When you change the way you relate to challenges, everything begins to transform. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to say, "What lesson is this situation trying to teach me?" Instead of resisting hardship, you receive it with openness and attention. Instead of cursing setbacks, you thank them for the opportunity to grow stronger. This mindset not only transforms your present experience, it prepares your mind for the future. You develop a resilient mentality that turns every situation, no matter how painful, into fuel for your personal evolution. What you now see as your greatest obstacle might one day become the story of strength that inspires others. But that will only happen if you choose to see the obstacle as your guide, not your enemy. 6. Stop fighting what you cannot change. There is a silent war you fight every day, often without realizing it. It's an exhausting battle against forces completely outside your control. You fight against memories of a past that no longer exists. You struggle with imagined futures that haven't happened. You resist other people's decisions, the weather, traffic, the economy, the world's injustices. And amid this constant resistance, you end up losing the only battle that truly matters, the one being fought inside you. Marcus Aurelius, the most influential emperor of his time, understood a truth that freed him from all unnecessary anguish. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. A man who ruled a vast empire knew that real power resided in his own thoughts, not in the events beyond his reach. Mental resistance is like swimming against a current that never stops. You can exhaust all your strength, and still, the current will follow its natural course. But when you decide to stop fighting the unchangeable, something transformative occurs. You discover you can use that very current to propel yourself forward. The energy you once wasted resisting is now available for creating, for advancing, for building something meaningful. This is not passive surrender. It's wisdom in action. It's the difference between furiously punching a concrete wall until you hurt yourself and realizing that, just beside you, there was a door waiting to be opened. When you learn to accept what you cannot change, your mind clears. You begin to notice possibilities that were previously hidden. Solutions emerge that blind struggle never allowed you to imagine. Inner peace does not come from the world working exactly as you want it to. It is born when you stop demanding that everything be different from what it already is. In that deep acceptance, a kind of optimism blooms, one that doesn't depend on ideal circumstances. It's a firm, courageous attitude that stands tall even when everything seems to collapse. Stop resisting, start flowing. Your energy is far too valuable to keep wasting on battles that cannot be won. 7. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is your choice. Suffering is a choice. There are moments when life hits you with such brutal force that it takes your breath away. Moments when pain runs so deep, you feel like it's breaking you apart inside. The loss of a loved one, the collapse of a dream, the betrayal of someone you trusted with everything. Pain shows up without warning, without asking permission, regardless of whether you're ready or not. But here's the difference that can completely change your life. Pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is the wound. Suffering is the story you build around that wound. Pain is inevitable. It's part of the human experience. But suffering is a decision, a stance you often adopt without even realizing it. When something painful happens, your mind begins to construct a narrative. This shouldn't be happening. I don't deserve this. My life is ruined. I'll never recover. Each of those thoughts adds another layer of suffering on top of the original pain. It's like adding repeated blows to the same wound, over and over again. True positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring pain. It acknowledges it, respects it, and accepts it as an inevitable part of life. But it also refuses to add more suffering through self-destructive narratives. It refuses to turn a painful experience into a life sentence. You can feel sadness without defining yourself as a sad person. You can go through loss without labeling yourself as lost. You can live through hard times without assuming you are a helpless victim of fate. The pain you experience is real. It's valid. But the story you choose to build around that pain determines whether you heal or stay trapped in the wound. The next time life confronts you with pain, observe it without layering it with unnecessary suffering. Allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel, without building a mental prison around it. Pain is temporary. It always is. But suffering only lasts if you decide to give it space. 8. Gratitude is the antidote to bitterness. There is a silent poison that infects millions of minds every day. It's called bitterness, and it has the power to turn a life full of potential into a prison of resentment and pessimism. Bitterness arises when we obsessively focus on what we lack, on what went wrong, on what others have that we don't. It's like wearing dark glasses that only let us see the shadows of life. while the rays of light remain hidden. But the ancient sages discovered something revolutionary. There is a powerful antidote to that poison. It's not an expensive medicine or a complicated therapy. It's something you have access to at every moment, with every breath, every heartbeat: gratitude. And I'm not talking about shallow gratitude, the kind expressed through polite phrases or greeting cards. I mean authentic, deep gratitude, the kind that radically transforms the way you interpret life. Zeno, one of the most influential thinkers of the ancient world, once wrote from personal experience, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." But we could also add, "It is impossible for someone to feel truly miserable when they sincerely appreciate what they have." Gratitude and bitterness cannot exist in the same mental space, just as light and darkness cannot occupy the same place at the same time. Genuine gratitude is not merely making a mental list of positive things. It's a deep state of recognition that permeates your being. It's waking up each day and feeling genuine awe at the simple fact of being alive, of breathing, of having the ability to experience this unrepeatable moment. It's understanding that even on your darkest days, you're still surrounded by small miracles you've taken for granted. When you cultivate gratitude this way, something extraordinary happens in your mind. That brain, trained to detect dangers, errors, and threats, begins to actively search for reasons to feel thankful. It's like changing the lens through which you perceive reality. The same events that used to irritate you become opportunities to recognize what is working in your life. This transformation doesn't happen instantly or by accident. It requires conscious, sustained, and deliberate practice. Your mind, for years, perhaps decades, has been conditioned to focus on the negative as a defense mechanism. Changing that mental habit requires the same consistency as training your physical body. But the rewards it offers are deeply transformative. Gratitude is not just a healthy habit, it's a way of life. It's an inner alchemy that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary, the common into the sacred, and the difficult into an opportunity for growth. 9. Accept impermanence and find peace. There is a silent current that runs through all of existence, an invisible force that shapes each moment, each experience, each path. That energy doesn't ask for your approval, wait for your permission, or pause at your pleas. It's called impermanence. Everything changes, everything fades, everything transforms. And within this truth, one that may seem unsettling, lies the key to deep and lasting peace. Your resistance to change is the root of much of your suffering. You cling to pleasurable moments as if you could hold on to them forever. You resist difficult phases as if that could stop them from evolving. You build your identity on temporary roles, shifting relationships, and successes that dissolve over time. Then you wonder why life feels like a constant battle against invisible forces. But when you finally embrace the transitory nature of all things, when you stop fighting the inevitable, something truly transformative happens. Life stops being a war you need to win and becomes a dance you learn to enjoy. You're no longer a victim of change, but its ally. You stop fearing the loss of what you have, because you understand it was never really yours to keep. This deep understanding of impermanence doesn't make you weak or submissive. It makes you stronger. When you know this painful moment will pass too, you find the courage to go through it with integrity. When you realize this beautiful moment is fleeting, you savor it more intensely without anxiety. When you accept that your emotional pain is temporary, you allow yourself to feel it, without the fear of being destroyed by it. And instead of lamenting transience, you discover a new kind of freedom. Freedom to live without the burden of permanence. Freedom to love without fear of loss. Freedom to suffer without believing that pain will last forever. Freedom to feel joy without needing it to stay. Accepting impermanence also changes your relationship with time. You stop getting stuck in the past, idealizing what no longer is. You stop running toward the future, trying to escape an imperfect present. You begin to inhabit the now, fully aware that it's the only thing that's real, the only thing you truly have, the only thing that truly matters. The serenity born from this acceptance doesn't depend on things going your way. It's a peace that understands everything is temporary, even suffering. It's a calm that welcomes change as a natural part of life. It's a stillness that finds beauty in both beginnings and endings, in both hellos and goodbyes. 10. Live from your control, not from your reactions. Don't live from your reactions. Live from your inner mastery. At the center of a hurricane, there is a space of absolute stillness. While the winds rage furiously around it, that core remains calm, steady, untouched. Within you lies that same center, a deep place that preserves its peace no matter how chaotic the environment becomes. Yet most people never discover this inner core because they spend their entire lives on the surface of themselves, reacting to every external stimulus like leaves blown by the wind. Living from your impulses is living as a slave to whatever happens outside. Someone says something that upsets you, and without thinking, you're filled with anger. You get bad news, and you fall into despair. Things don't go as planned, and you automatically feel frustrated, without ever questioning that reaction. Your emotions become a mirror of what's happening outside of you, as if you were just an emotional thermometer, incapable of regulating yourself. But there is another way to live, a way that turns you into the conscious author of your inner world, rather than its prisoner. That way is to live from your center, from that space of wisdom and stillness that exists within you, beyond circumstances. When you live from that place, you still feel, but you're no longer swept away by what you feel. You still respond, but you do so from a conscious choice, not from an impulsive reaction. Finding that center requires attention and self-awareness. The first step is learning to recognize when you're reacting from the surface. The signs are clear. You feel your emotions dragging you, your responses are rushed, and your mood shifts abruptly, depending on what's happening around you. In those moments, pause for a second and ask yourself a fundamental question. From where am I responding? From my calm center, or from my emotional reaction? When you learn to live from that inner space, you develop what we might call emotional sovereignty. You're no longer a prisoner of your moods. You no longer need others to behave a certain way in order to maintain your peace. Your emotional balance no longer depends on the external. It begins to generate from within. This transformation radically improves the quality of your relationships. When you stop automatically reacting to other people's emotional worlds, you can act with greater wisdom and compassion. When you stop needing others to change in order for you to be in harmony, your relationships become more honest, freer, and less manipulative. Also, when you live from your center, you inspire others to find theirs. This way of living also changes how you face challenges. Instead of reacting with fear or anger when things get difficult, you respond with calm and clarity. And that centered response is not only more effective, it also allows you to preserve your dignity and mental stability even in the toughest moments. This center we speak of is not a physical location. It's a state of awareness. It's that part of you that can observe your thoughts without being carried away by them. It's that inner presence that remains steady while everything else changes. It's that natural wisdom that knows how to act with strength without losing its essence. When you consistently live from this inner core, you become what the Stoics called a sage, someone who remains balanced no matter what happens around them. Not because they are cold or indifferent, but because they've found within themselves a foundation so solid that they can allow themselves to feel deeply without being destroyed by what they feel. You've reached the end of this journey, but in reality, it's just the beginning. What you've discovered today isn't just a set of ideas to reflect on during quiet moments. They are real tools, powerful principles that have been tested over centuries by some of the clearest minds in history. But knowledge without practice is just intellectual distraction. These 10 keys will only become true power if you decide to apply them, day after day, moment after moment. When you face your next challenge, remember, your mind is the only territory that truly belongs to you. When you feel the temptation to react without thinking, return to your center. When bitterness tries to creep in, open the door to gratitude. Your unshakable mind is not formed in a single moment. It is forged with every conscious decision you make, with every moment you choose to act instead of react, with every instance where you see possibility, where others see only barriers, with every second you remain centered while everything around you spins out of control. The path to a Stoic mindset is not easy, but it is clear. And every firm step you take brings you closer to that version of yourself that already exists in potential. Someone truly free, genuinely strong, and deeply at peace. If this content resonated with you, share it with those who might need it. Click the like button so more people can discover these life-changing principles, and subscribe to continue this journey toward a resilient, clear, and powerful mind. And don't forget to scroll down to the comments and write the phrase, "Today I choose my mind. I act with calm." This is not just any phrase. It is a conscious declaration, a powerful affirmation that connects you with your inner center and with this community that has chosen to live with purpose, self-mastery, and determination. Every video on this channel is one more piece of something greater, like a puzzle that piece by piece helps you build a firmer, clearer, and more authentic version of yourself. If this awakens something within you, don't stop here. Keep exploring. Thank you for being part of this community. And until next time, keep cultivating your Stoic character. See you soon.